Today I'm unboxing the Anbernic RG40XX V. This might be the perfect handheld retro console yet. Let's have a look. So since about a year, I developed an interest in retro consoles, especially the handheld ones. What basically happened is that I missed my old Game Boy. I used to have one, but in some silly mode many years ago. Probably because I wanted something stupid to buy. I sold it. And now I don't have one anymore. But I still enjoy those games. Those are the games that I grew up with. So I want to recapture that by, well, on one end, buying back all these old consoles. I have a stack of them on my attic. But second, also getting these emulators, these little devices that you can take everywhere and you can play those games from all those years ago. The games that I grew up with. Now over the last, let's say, 2 years, I've bought some devices, and the first one was this powkiddy. It's not even charged anymore. I don't use it anymore. Looks funny though. And it did what it needed to do. But a lot of people in my comments on that video said, yeah dude, you need to look at Anbernic. They're a way better brand and they're cheaper. And that they are. Because a year later I bought these two. The Anbernic RG40XX and the Anbernic RG40XX-H. You can tell why it is H. Because it's more of a wider setup. Anyways, I bought this one because it kind of looked like the old Game Boy with the colors and whatnot. But the major problem was it was too small. It just cramped up my hands. Much like the powkiddy did. So I got this one, which was definitely better. There was way less of a cramping issue. And it is a pretty good device. But still, I wanted something bigger. And Anbernic has been on the roll lately. So they recently released a new device. The RG40XX V. And from what I've seen online, this is definitely what I'm looking for. A bigger device that has the same functionality and a bigger screen. So let's open it up. As always, it comes in a pretty neat white box that just has a bit of a print showing off the actual console and a model number right here at the bottom. When you open it up, it's nicely stacked in there in a little bag. This is the device. And I presume under this little piece of plastic, we're going to find the cable. There we go. As always, the manual. Or like they say in Spanish, el manual. No? Okay, fine. And then a USB-C cable to charge it. I have plenty of those already. The important part is this guy. It has a little foam on top of it to protect it, but there we go. This is the device. It is so shiny. I took the black version that is slightly transparent. There's also a white one, a blue one, and that's about it, I think. This is the 40XX, and this is the 35. So not only is the device itself way bigger, the screen estate is quite impressive. You have the usual buttons, but you also got one analog stick, which is missing from the normal 35XX. The 35XX actually has two analog sticks, two joysticks. When it comes to ergonomics, this device definitely feels way better. Man, it's such a huge difference. The H was an improvement because it is very wide, but it is rather stacked and short. This feels like the old Game Boy. Not the original one, the big one, the gray one. That was a huge brick. But the Game Boy Color, for instance. Just looking at the hardware, at the device, I think this might be what I'm looking for as a casual retro gamer that occasionally plays a game that wants to take this along, but it doesn't necessarily have to fit in my pocket, because that is an argument I see a lot of other people make, that the 35 is easily put in your pocket so you can take it everywhere. I don't care about that. I'm not going to put anything in my pockets. I hate putting stuff in my pockets. I prefer to put stuff in my backpack, and yeah, when it comes to that, I don't think this is going to make a huge difference in load or space. This is just perfect. But I need to test it first, so I'm going to charge this device, and I'll be back with you in a few seconds. And this is what it looks like. So let's run over all of the buttons. First off, you have the action buttons, as you know them in all of these consoles. There's a joystick, a little con stick, and then the D-pad that you can use. There's a select and a start button. And this is the menu button that you use to go back to the main menu. On the back there are these 4 triggers that are conveniently kind of positioned in this little arc. I like that a lot. It makes it a lot easier on the hands. And what also helps are these indents which make gripping the console quite a lot easier. You can really get a good grip on the console, which is quite important when you're playing, of course. On one side you have the volume toggle and an SD slot, while on the other end you have the power button and the reset button, and right here below is another SD slot. On the bottom there's the audio jack and the USB-C port to charge it, and on the top there's an HDMI port, a small one for the HD out. Alright, that's about everything. Let's boot it up. Alright, we sped up the booting a little bit, but it was about 20 seconds for a first time. By the way, I love this RGB kind of circle around the Joy-Con. That is kind of cool. But anyways, if you ever use an Anbernic device, this menu will look very familiar. It has the classic setup, the game rooms, the RE game, and then App Center for those few people that want to use this as an app device. There's your favorites, the history, the search, and the settings. Now there are 2 SD cards in here, so I need to make a selection. I'm going to go for number 1. And then you basically get all the choices of different consoles. There are a few games that I want to give a try, just to see how powerful this device is. And we're going to start out pretty simple, with the good old Game Boy. Alright, let's try with Double Dragon Classic. Man, this brings back memories. Oops. To be fair, I'm also looking at my camera, so yeah, I'm making excuses right here. Alright, there we go. Picked up the baseball bat. Okay. No, no, no. Whoa. Not going to say that that was rude, but anyways, you get the idea. Alright, maybe let's ramp it up a little bit and go for a Game Gear. I used to own a lot of those games. Oh, that's right. You can only jump. I'm acing this. I have not played this game in 20 years. Yes, please. Oh god. Of course you duck. Alright, fine. Yeah, I need to get some practice in. I mean, this is not the best position to be playing those games in, but yeah, it's been a while. Alright, now for the true test. I want to see how this game does with a PSP game. And more specifically, with God of War. Let's start a new game. Normal difficulty. Wish me luck. Let's see how this works. Let's see if I can still do this. Ooh. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the frame rate during the gameplay is nauseating. It's really low. This is not a fun experience. Nope. I think we hit the limits of the device at this point. I think with some settings, maybe you could have it render a little better, but I mean, it kind of makes sense that it has its limitations. But other than that, there's plenty of choice. There's plenty of older games that you can play easily. Like Crash Bandicoot, for instance, on PlayStation 1. That seems to be running pretty smoothly. That frame rate looks perfect. So yeah, it's just the PSP games. The heavy PSP games are a bit of an issue. But other than that, it runs just fine. So if I compare this device to the older ones that I got, especially the powkiddy, but also the other two Anbernic devices, I think this one is the best yet. I wouldn't call it perfect. On one end, it is definitely bigger, but I'm a tall man. I've said this before, my hands are pretty big. So yeah, I still run into that feeling of at some point my hands are going to cramp up. But that is a me problem. I think for most people it's going to be just fine. It is still small enough to fit in your backpack, maybe in a pocket in your vest, whatever. You can't put it in the pocket of your pants, which you can do with these small ones. But like I said, these are just too small. Like after a few minutes you start cramping up. And it also helps that this one has a bigger screen, especially for some of the games like the PSP games. You need a bigger screen because the text is pretty small. Now, talking about PSP, when it comes to rendering the games, most of them were pretty fine. The PlayStation 1 games, I personally did not run into an issue up till now. I still need to kind of test that thoroughly. The only games where I felt that the frame rate started to drop a little bit were the PSP games, like God of War, for instance. Now, I don't think that is going to be an enjoyable experience. I think it might be slightly nauseating after a few minutes. But there's a lot of stuff in life that is nauseating that I push through it, so. But again, I think this is the best device that Anbernic has released to date for me personally. And I have to say, Anbernic is on top of things. The design of these devices, the hardware keeps improving, but also the software they put on there. There's a lot of custom firmware out there that other people have built, but it seems that Anbernic is listening and taking lessons from what people are building for themselves to kind of incorporate it in their own firmware that they put on there. The utility and the usability of the menus is definitely improved versus the older devices, and they added little fun features. I like the fact that the menu button, that is the M button, is actually so front and center. It's really easy to jump out of a game to save it. Big fan of the RGB colored analog stick. I don't know why. It just pops out. It makes the device look very interesting. So for the 80 bucks I spend on this, which is still less than I paid for the powkiddy back in the day, I'm happy. I'm really happy with this. And I think I'm going to be using this way more often than I did with any of these, just for the mere fact that I feel like they're more comfortable in my hands, that there is a bigger screen. It doesn't make me feel like a clumsy giant when I'm playing games. I still am though. That is never going to change. But Anbernic is doing a good job. I'm looking forward to what they will be releasing next. They've done their best to push out a lot of different devices and all different types of aspect ratios. But for me, those Game Boy Color-alike devices are the most desirable, or the ones that I kind of like best. There's one other device that Anbernic made that I'm still looking at and maybe purchasing one day, but that will be for a later video. For this video, that's it. I'll leave a link to the device in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, take care of yourself, take care of each other. Bye bye.